Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at Roland's newest RIP software, Versaworks 7. So it's only been out a short while and we thought we'd make a quick video on it just to sort of show you the changes, the layout, things like that. If you're familiar with Versaworks, a lot of this will be exactly the same as what you're used to already. Maybe things are in a slightly different place and the home screen is slightly different, but all the basics will be the same. So in order to get Versaworks 7, you will have to download and install Roland DG Connect Hub. It's Roland's new software for monitoring printers. As you can see, we've got quite a few here because we've had quite a few machines. It's a free download. You just go to Google and type in Roland DG Connect Hub. You will have to create an account, but it's all free, and at that point you will register your device. You can either search from auto detected devices, by driver, or by IP address manually. Once you have your device up on the screen, so if we go for the VG3, Versaworks 7 there, and at this point it will be install, follow the link, install, download and install the software, and then you should be greeted with a page like this. So we need to add a printer. We already have one there, but we're just going to go through the motions of adding another one. It will auto search, so any printers that you already have attached to your system, it should hopefully pick them up. So we'll go for the VG3 and we'll register that. Shouldn't take too long. There we go. And there we are. So you can have all your printers on the home screen, and as you can see, it gives you some information of the ink type, the firmware version, serial number, the current IP address, and the ink status. Now, if any inks are below 20–25%, you will get a little yellow spot. That's a warning symbol there to tell you the ink's getting low. Maybe think about getting a new one in ready to change it. Okay, so basic layout of the software. This will be the main screen that you come to first. This is where we added our printer, so you can have multiple printers on the go, just like any other RIP software. Job status, so if you are printing or ripping, you can see these two here. They will be populated with whatever the software is currently doing. As I'm not ripping or printing anything, they're blank at the moment. If you want to go back to printer status, where our printer information is, that's there. For everything else, we're going to go to this screen. So again, some information of your printers. When you click on them, gives you a little bit more there. So at the moment, I've popped some media onto our VG3, and this is what it is scanned at currently. So as I've said before, if you're used to using Versaworks, you will see a lot of similarities. The basics are the same. Just the colour of the software and the screens are slightly laid out in a different way. So home, that will bring us back to where we are. Job will bring us back to here. So these are the queues. Now it defaults to just one queue, but as in previous versions of Versaworks, you can have up to 5 queues again. But if you don't want them, you can just cross them off, and then as per usual, you can change the settings for each of the queues and even the name if you want to. Here we've got our job, or as it says, you can just drag a job into it. These are the job settings. Obviously they're all greyed out because I don't have a job currently. This will be the thumbnails for the job itself, and then when we do put a job in, this will populate with all the information for the job settings over this side. We've got a RIP button here and a print button here. Here's another tab for other features such as nesting, job grouping, layering and composing. You've got a save button here to save settings and a delete button here, but all this will be populated when we bring a job in. But that's the sort of basic layout of of the two screens of the software. You've got your home screen, printer and job status, and then your job screen here for the job itself. Okay, so let's bring a job into the software so we can delve into the other bits. So let's choose that one. Okay, so now as you can see, all of these other things have now lit up. So here we have our other features such as job assistant, duplicate, variation, all of those. This is if we want to save the job and use it as a backup. So if it's a repeat job that you're printing quite often, you might want to save the settings and whatnot to keep as a backup just in case. It doesn't save the artwork, it only saves the settings. So if you do save a backup file, it's a Versaworks file specifically for Versaworks, save the artwork along with it, save yourself some trouble in the future. Again, these are the nest and whatnot settings, delete, and so on. So as I said, this will be the thumbnail for the job, and over here various settings for the job, which we'll get into in a second. And now you can see the rip and print button is lit up. So if we were to press print, it would rip the job first and then print it. If we're going to be sitting here on the software and racking up a load of jobs to print for the day, you can pre-rip them, and then when you come to print them, it'll just be a bit quicker on printing. So if we want to go into the job settings, we can click settings, or as a shortcut, double click on the job there. Okay, now this bit you will be very familiar with if you've ever used Versaworks before. It's all the same tabs and pretty much the same layout as you're used to. So first things first, get media width. So that's communicated with the printer with the material that I've gone on at the moment. Scaling, if we just go to fit media size, it resizes the job. Down here we have origin view or user view. So this is the view you're used to seeing on an older version of Versaworks. Versaworks 6 and onwards have added this user view. So if we click to that, this is now the view as if you're stood in front of the printer. So this is the same stuff that we're used to seeing. Media size, what size do we want to print the job at? I've just gone to fit media size if we need to position it. How many copies do we want to do? What spacing do we want in between the copies? Do we want to mirror the job? And the orientation. So if I flick it around there, this will now come off the printer looking like this. Quality tab, so we have our profiles. These are the standard ones that are built in. Our print qualities, our mode including the pass rate is here. Special plate generation, as I'm using the VG, it doesn't have white or gloss, but if you have a Roland printer that does have white or gloss, the special plate generation is now here. I believe it used to be in a different tab further down, but they've incorporated it into the quality settings. Same for the special plate correction, so if you're printing white or gloss and there's a bit of a step or the white and the gloss isn't matching up with the colour, you can correct it there. Colour management tab is our colour settings. So these are pretty much the same as they always have been, but they have added some new true rich ones, quite a few. So worth having a play around with those. We've got our target profiles. To be honest, it's not something I tend to mess around with, this whole section, but some people do. We have our level adjustment, which used to be a separate tab, but again they've incorporated it into the colour management tab now, where you can increase or decrease a certain colour, and same for the brightness or contrast. And then if you want to reset all, as you can see, it does change the thumbnail slightly if I start changing things over here, and then reset all just brings it back to where it was. We do have tone curves and some other things, but to be honest, not many people tend to mess around with those, but you can. They do have a colour replace tab now on here, like some other RIP softwares. if you want to. The marks tab, same as it always has been. So you've got trim marks for hand trimming, margin marks and for toba marks. We will leave it on no marks, and that has reset that, so I'll just flick that back. And for print and cut, it's these marks here. As you can see, every time you make a change, it does sort of revert back. We'll leave those off for now. Printer controls, same as they have been. Do you want it to sheet or perforate, sheet cut after it's finished printing, and you can tell it how much space. You've got calibration and other controls here, but to be honest, I would tend to leave those to the printer side of things. You have the option to change them here, but personally I would change them on the printer, and then you know the printer's all good. Cut controls again, what do we want to do? Do we want to print and cut and print, print only, or cut only if we're going to take it out and laminate it. Cut image boundaries, so we can automatically add a perf cut to the image boundaries now, which is very handy, or normal cut. We'll just add a cut line to the box there, so if I change that to cut only, you can see the cut line there. So, none. Same sort of things if you're used to seeing, return to origin after print, cut passes, pre-feed, and then you can change the perforation side of things and the cut. Hasn't got a cut line on it, so that's greyed out for that reason. But if you had a cut line on it, you'd be able to change. Again, I would change those on the printer, not the software, but it's personal preference. Job management, so you can have it save or delete the job after ripping, after printing, all the same things as we used to see in Versaworks. Same for the clipping, which is cropping the image essentially. Tiling, which is splitting it up into manageable sections if it's a large artwork, and you can add an overlap and sort of lines to marry up those sections. And variable data, again, what we're used to seeing. Customize, we can change the layout of these tabs, we can bring the ones we use the most to the top, we can delete ones if we want to. That's all pretty much the same as Versaworks 6 and other previous versions. So I change that, click OK. So here's our settings that we've used here. And at this point we could rip or print the job. Alright, so we've had a look at the basic layout of the software, we've had a quick look at the bringing in a job and changing the settings. I said at that point we could rip or print. We're going to have a quick look at some of the other features that you may or may not have seen. You do have still right click where you can get to these features as well if that's what you're used to doing, but they have sort of brought them all to the front of the software as well to make them easier to find. So this is when we bring a job in. If we just bring in another job, so we have two jobs. If we hold control and highlight them both, we can either do it from here. No, can we? There we are. So you've got your layering, you've got your multiple job grouping. They're more for printers with white gloss or primer with multiple layers. This is the VG that just has 8 colours, so it doesn't have any of those currently. But the other one that we're used to seeing is nest. So obviously if you want to print multiple small jobs in one print run to save on wastage, that would be nest. And at that point the job is nested. And if we double click, we fit that one to media size as well. You can drag that one down and print them both in one print run as you normally could. If you want to unnest them, that tab there, and then they're two separate jobs again as they always were. Okay, so that was our settings tab, which is this one. Again, double click on here will take you to the same place. Next one down will be job assistant. So this is for adding cut lines or adding a spot color if you're not used to doing that in your design software. So a spot color here, white gloss or primer, I'm not going to spend too long on these because you've probably already seen them before, you've already used them before, but just to show you what they are. This one is for adding your cut lines. Again, if you're not used to doing that in your design software, so type of cut, perf or normal, do you want it around the bounding box, outline, corner shape, so on and so forth. You've got your layering and you've got your different colours there as well. So now we have just used Job Assistant. It will default to the last one used. So we'll go back to settings. Okay. This will change to the last one that you've used from this list. Next one down, obviously rename, duplicate job, they're pretty standard. UV post cure, that is for obviously UV printers, if you need to give it a little bit more curing. Variation, this is quite a good feature, it came in Versaworks 6, quite a few patches ago now, but a lot of people might not be aware that it even exists. This is great if you have customers that have a very specific artwork and you want to print multiple versions of the artwork with different quality settings or colour settings all in one hit. So we'll start with the quality and we can choose from multiple profiles if we want, or we can keep one profile and then choose 3 different versions of the quality. Next one down is colour management, so all of these colour managements, because they can vary your artwork quite a lot. So if we pick a few of these at random, you can see here they're all given a letter. So when they're printing, it gives a little bit of information on the bottom of each print. You can print the whole lot off in one hit, look at them, pick C for instance, go yep, C's the one I want to use from now on, and if we click OK, it will come up with the message because this is a huge artwork. Obviously if we were doing this real world we would shrink the artwork down to a couple of 100 mil and then whiz them off, but it's just to show you. This is our variation job now. And as you can see just there, that is the information for each print. So when you print them off, you can compare the ones, find the one you're happy with, and at that point you can right click after it's printed. You can change the print size there as well, that's good. Evaluate, I go, C was the one I want, I'm going to delete all the others, and it will apply the settings to that job. Really handy feature, I really like that one a lot. Again, because I've used that one last, it will default to the last one there. Again, if I go back into settings, OK, the icon changes. So this is to save your artwork, this one is to clear, this one was nesting, multiple job grouping and such. If you want to delete the job, you can do it from there, but again, most of these settings, if you right click on the job, they're all sort of here. Job Assistant, variation job, and the other bits and bobs. And that's about the basics of Versaworks 7. As I said multiple times, if you're used to using Versaworks 6, this will be an absolute breeze. If you're new to Versaworks 7, they have laid it out in a very good way that if you hover over something, it will sort of tell you what it does. And I'd say that's about it.